Carlos Santana carried a lot of pain and secrets for decades, pain from betrayal, trauma, and moments when he wanted his suffering to end. The world saw him as a rock legend, the man who ruled Woodstock, but very few knew that he tried to take his own life 7 times. Now, at 77, Santana has decided to share his deepest struggles and the truth that shaped his music, his spirit, and his journey. Carlos Santana was born in Mexico in 1947. His father was a mariachi violinist who introduced him to music at a very young age. When Carlos was 8, his family moved to Tijuana. That move changed everything for him. In Tijuana, he saw a local band called the TJs play in a park, and it sparked something inside him. He fell in love with rock and blues, and from that moment, music became his escape. But life in Tijuana wasn't easy. For 2 years, when he was a child, Carlos went through something terrible. An American man abused him repeatedly. This man would take him across the border, buy him toys and clothes, and use these gifts to keep him quiet. The abuse only stopped when the man hit him for looking at a woman through a window. For many years after, Santana carried the guilt and pain of what happened. It was a deep wound that would shape his emotions and his music for the rest of his life. By the time he was 15, Carlos was already playing guitar in strip clubs around Tijuana. The environment was rough and dangerous. He saw things that no teenager should see, including police officers mistreating women who worked there. But these difficult experiences helped him develop his unique sound, a powerful mix of Latin rhythm, blues, and rock. In the early 1960s, Santana moved to the United States. He got a job as a dishwasher at a place called the Tic-Toc Drive-In. He worked hard and saved every penny, hoping to buy immigration papers and a new Stratocaster guitar. But one day, he discovered that his mother had used all his savings, $300, to pay for his sister's dental treatment. She returned only $20 to him. Santana was heartbroken and angry, so he left home and returned to Tijuana, surviving by playing in clubs again. When he finally settled in San Francisco, life didn't get much easier. He lived in the Mission District with other struggling musicians in a tiny apartment without a bed. He slept on the floor, ate rice and beans, and played guitar with broken strings because he couldn't afford new ones. But he never gave up on his dream. He played music on the streets, at Fisherman's Wharf, in Union Square, anywhere he could. Sometimes, he earned less than $5 a day. But every note he played helped him get better. He listened to jazz, rock, and folk musicians around him and blended their sounds into something truly his own. Everything changed in 1966 when he formed his first band, the Santana Blues Band. It all started by chance. While working at the drive-in, he met Tom Fraser, who introduced him to keyboardist Greg Rowley. Together, they brought in other talented musicians like David Brown on bass and Marcus Malone on percussion. The band's name Santana was suggested by percussionist Michael Carabello because it sounded simple and memorable. Their big break came thanks to music promoter Bill Graham. He believed in Santana's talent and wanted to help the band succeed. In 1969, Graham was helping organize the Woodstock Festival and told the organizers they had to include Santana if they wanted his support. At that time, Santana wasn't famous. They hadn't even released their first album, and most of the 400,000 people at Woodstock had no idea who they were. Santana's slot was at 2 p.m. on August 16, 1969, right between two major acts, the Grateful Dead and Creedence Clearwater Revival. But what made their performance even more incredible was Carlos Santana's condition that day. He was only 22, and before the show, Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead offered him a strong hallucinogenic drug, probably mescaline or peyote. Santana thought they wouldn't perform until late at night, so he took it. But soon after, he found out they were going on stage earlier than expected. When he walked on stage, he was already deep into a vivid, disorienting trip. As he played, he saw his guitar neck twist and move like a snake. He was terrified but kept playing with his eyes closed, trusting his fingers to find the right notes. He prayed silently, asking God to help him not embarrass himself in front of the massive crowd. What came out of that performance was pure magic, a mix of energy, soul, and rhythm that electrified the audience. That Woodstock show changed everything. Overnight, Santana became a sensation. Just 2 weeks later, on August 30th, 1969, their debut album Santana was released. The timing was perfect. Suddenly, the band went from playing small bars in Tijuana and San Francisco to being known across the world. With Bill Graham's help, Santana played at major events like the Gold Rush Festival and appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show in October 1969. Their self-titled debut album stayed on the Billboard charts for 108 weeks, peaking at number 4. The single Jingo reached number 56, but it was Evil Ways that made them stars, climbing to number 9 and staying on the charts for 13 weeks. Bill Graham had suggested they cover the song, and his instinct was right, it became their breakthrough hit. When Santana got his first royalty check, he kept a promise to his mother. He bought her a house and filled it with everything she needed, including a brand new refrigerator. It was his way of thanking her for the sacrifices she had made. By the early 1970s, Santana was one of the biggest names in rock. In 1973, he married Deborah King, the daughter of blues musician Saunders King. They met at a concert and quickly fell in love. Their marriage lasted 34 years, and Deborah became not just his wife but also his business partner. In the 1990s, she helped manage his career and finances, and Santana often said that without her, he might have lost everything. Together, they had 3 children, Salvador, who became a bandleader and songwriter, Stella, a singer, and Angelica, a writer and filmmaker. Their partnership extended into business as well. In 1994, they took full control of Santana Management, with Deborah serving as vice president and COO until 2007. In 1998, they started the Milagro Foundation, which supported underprivileged children around the world. Deborah also played a huge role in Santana's comeback with his 1999 album Supernatural, which sold millions of copies, went 15 times platinum, and won 9 Grammy Awards. But behind all the success, their marriage was falling apart. In her 2005 memoir Space Between the Stars, Deborah revealed that Carlos had been unfaithful during their marriage. The book's release deeply shook Santana's image in his personal life. In 2007, after more than 3 decades together, they divorced. Santana later admitted to everything publicly. He said he was deeply sorry for what he had done and that his actions were the result of pain and confusion that he never truly healed from. He promised to become the man his family deserved, but the damage was already done. During this time, Carlos also faced a spiritual crisis. For years, he had followed a guru named Sri Chinmoy, who taught him meditation and spiritual discipline. But by 1982, Santana broke away from him after disagreements and disillusionment. Losing that guidance left him feeling lost. He started to struggle emotionally and spiritually, which made him question everything, his faith, his music, and even his purpose. Despite these inner battles, Santana never stopped creating music. In interviews, he said that music was the one thing that kept him alive, the only place where he could express everything he couldn't say out loud. He poured his pain, his love, and his faith into his guitar. Each note was like a prayer. Over the years, Carlos Santana has learned to face his demons. He has spoken openly about his childhood trauma, his mistakes, and his struggles with depression. He said that healing took time and that it began when he learned to forgive himself. At 77, he no longer hides behind fame or fear. Instead, he uses his platform to spread messages of hope, love, and spiritual peace. Santana's journey shows that even those who seem to have everything can carry deep wounds. His story isn't just about fame or success, it's about survival. From a broken childhood in Mexico to becoming one of the most respected musicians in the world, Carlos Santana has lived through darkness and found light again through his art. Today, when he performs, it's not just about the music. It's about connecting with something bigger, something divine. He once said, "When I play, I want people to feel their own soul. I want them to remember they are light." Carlos Santana's life has been filled with both pain and beauty. His music, full of emotion, rhythm, and heart, reflects that balance. He turned his suffering into sound, his heartbreak into healing, and his story into inspiration. And after all these years, the man who once begged for his pain to stop now plays with peace in his heart, reminding the world that even in the hardest moments, the soul can still sing. The divorce took a heavy emotional toll on Carlos Santana. It pushed him into one of the darkest times of his life, a place where he no longer saw a reason to go on. During this painful period, he tried to take his own life 7 times. Each attempt came from an overwhelming sense of pain and hopelessness, where he thought death might be easier than living through the suffering. But every time he was about to give up, something mysterious stopped him. He described hearing a calm, gentle voice say, "I'm sitting next to you. Isn't that enough?" That voice, he said, felt real, like a presence beside him, comforting him when he was at his lowest. When these dark moments came, Carlos often found himself staring at a picture of Jesus and lighting a candle. Somehow, those small acts gave him peace and strength. Over time, he began to rediscover joy in the simplest things, eating, breathing, and waking up to a new day. Slowly, he climbed out of the darkness that had nearly taken his life. The pain of the divorce also brought back a buried memory from his childhood, the sexual abuse he suffered when he was just 10 years old. It was committed by a friend of his father's, someone he trusted. For years, the trauma stayed locked inside him. But as an adult, through his deep faith, Santana found the courage to face it. He eventually forgave his abuser, saying that forgiveness was like removing a heavy chain from his soul. It didn't erase the pain, but it allowed him to move forward and feel free again. Carlos's spiritual journey has been full of ups and downs. In 1973, his guru, Sri Chinmoy, gave him the spiritual name Devadip, which means the lamp, the light, and the eye of God. Santana followed his guru's teachings for years, finding peace in meditation and discipline. But after leaving the guru's guidance in the early 1980s, Carlos continued searching for spiritual truth. Eventually, he embraced Christianity, which gave him a new sense of peace and direction. By 2015, Santana had become so devoted to his faith that he said he wanted to become a church minister after retiring from music. He even planned to open a church in Maui, Hawaii, where he hoped people could come together through prayer, music, and love. But before that dream could take shape, life gave him another miracle, a comeback that no one expected. In 1999, at the age of 52, Carlos Santana released Supernatural, an album that would redefine his career and make music history. The idea came from legendary music executive Clive Davis, the same man who had signed him to Columbia Records 3 decades earlier in 1969. Davis believed that Santana still had more to offer the world, even though the guitarist hadn't had a top 10 hit since 1971. Working together again was a huge risk, but it paid off beyond anyone's imagination. Supernatural became a global phenomenon, selling over 30 million copies worldwide. At the 2000 Grammy Awards, Santana won 9 Grammys in one night, tying Michael Jackson's record for the most awards ever won in a single evening. The album hit number 1 in 11 different countries and stayed at the top of the US charts for 12 weeks. Santana also made history as the first Hispanic artist to ever win the Grammy for Album of the Year. One of the songs that made Supernatural a legend was Smooth. But that song almost never happened. It began as a rough demo called Room 17, about a rock star meeting a fan in a hotel room. Pete Gonbarg, a music executive, thought the album needed one more big hit and suggested reworking the song. Santana wasn't interested at first, it didn't feel right to him. But Clive Davis personally reached out to him, encouraging him to give it a chance. Rob Thomas, the lead singer of Matchbox 20, was brought in to write and sing the song. At the time, Thomas was living a relaxed life in Manhattan and didn't expect the collaboration to become anything major. But when Santana invited him and the band to record the song live together in the studio, something magical happened. Santana later said that the session created a tsunami of positivity. The result was a song that took the world by storm. Smooth became the last number 1 hit of the 1990s and the first of the 2000s. It stayed at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 for 12 straight weeks, spent 30 weeks in the top 10, and remained on the charts for an incredible 58 weeks in total. To this day, Smooth is considered one of the greatest hits in modern music history. Carlos Santana's story is a powerful example of how far determination, faith, and talent can take a person. From a dishwasher in San Francisco in the 1960s to a global rock icon with over 100 million albums sold, his journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. In his early years, he struggled to make ends meet. He washed dishes, played music on the streets for tips, and often went hungry. But now, his net worth is estimated at around $120 million. The Supernatural album alone generated over $375 million in sales. Over the years, Santana has invested in real estate, owning a $6 million home in Las Vegas and a $20.5 million property in Hawaii. He's also a successful businessman. Along with chef Roberto Santibanez, he opened a chain of Mexican restaurants called Maria Maria, inspired by another hit song from the Supernatural album. The restaurants celebrate Latin culture through food, art, and music, just like Santana's songs. Even at 77, Santana hasn't slowed down. He continues to perform live shows full of energy, soul, and love. His residency in Las Vegas at the House of Blues inside the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino has been running for more than 13 years. The show, called An Intimate Evening with Santana, Greatest Hits Live, has been extended through 2025. He performs several nights a week, still playing with the same passion that made him a legend more than 50 years ago. Santana is also one of the few artists, alongside the Rolling Stones, to have at least one album reach the top 10 in every decade since the 1960s. That incredible record shows not just his longevity but his ability to stay relevant across generations and musical trends. Despite his fame and fortune, Santana remains deeply committed to giving back. A portion of his concert earnings goes to charity organizations like the Milagro Foundation, which he co-founded with his ex-wife Deborah in 1998 to support children in need around the world. He also supports the House of Blues Music Forward Foundation, which helps young musicians follow their dreams. In September 2022, during one of his performances, Santana collapsed on stage due to dehydration and exhaustion. The incident scared fans worldwide, but after taking time to rest and recover, he returned to performing with even more gratitude. He said that the experience reminded him of how fragile life is and how thankful he is to still be able to share music with people. Carlos Santana's story is not just about fame and music, it's about survival, forgiveness, and faith. He has faced abuse, heartbreak, addiction, spiritual confusion, and deep depression, yet each time, he found his way back. What saved him was his belief that music is a gift from a higher power, something divine that connects people beyond words. Today, when he picks up his guitar, he plays not just notes but emotions, love, loss, forgiveness, and hope. He says his mission now is to spread light wherever he goes, to remind people that even after pain and darkness, peace is still possible. His life proves that strength doesn't come from avoiding pain but from transforming it. From the child who was hurt in silence to the man who stands proudly before millions, Carlos Santana has shown the world what true resilience looks like. He once said, "Every time I play, I try to touch the light of God. That's the only thing that keeps me alive." And through every song, every chord, and every performance, Santana continues to shine that light, guiding others through their own struggles, one note at a time. In 2024, Carlos Santana had to cancel several of his concerts because he needed urgent back surgery. The 77-year-old guitarist canceled his September 4th show in Albuquerque and his September 2nd show in Phoenix. He also postponed his Las Vegas residency shows at the House of Blues that were planned for September and early October. Santana had already been performing while sitting during many of his recent shows due to back pain. Even though he canceled some performances, he still managed to play shows on August 27th, 28th, 30th, and 31st. One of these concerts, at the Kia Forum in Englewood, was particularly special. Santana played 5 songs from his legendary album Supernatural to celebrate its 25th anniversary. These performances prove that even with health problems, Santana could still perform with the same fire, energy, and soul that made him a legend. In 2023, Santana became the center of controversy after comments he made during a concert in Atlantic City, New Jersey. During his show, he gave an unscripted 15-minute speech about gender identity. His remarks upset many people because he said that gender is determined before birth. He told the crowd, "When God made you and me, before we came out of the womb, you know who you are and what you are." The statement made some people uncomfortable, and a video of his speech quickly went viral online. After the backlash, Santana apologized on Facebook, saying he was sorry for his insensitive words and admitted that his comments had hurt people. However, he later deleted that apology and replaced it with a mysterious poem that read, "The energy of consciousness generates its own kind. Hate begets hate. Love begets love." This confused and upset many fans even more, especially since the controversy came during a time when many anti-LGBTQ laws were being proposed across the United States, particularly targeting transgender youth. During the same Atlantic City concert, Santana also voiced his support for comedian Dave Chappelle, saying, "I am like this with my brother Dave Chappelle," while making a gesture showing their close friendship. This added to the backlash because Chappelle had already been criticized for his Netflix special The Closer, which included controversial jokes about transgender people. Santana's public support of Chappelle during that sensitive time only made the situation worse. Civil rights groups, including San Francisco Pride leaders, criticized Santana's remarks. They warned that statements like his, especially from influential figures, could make life harder for transgender individuals. The criticism hit even harder because Santana has always been seen as a beloved figure in the Bay Area and a powerful voice in the world of music. Despite the controversy, Santana's music remains timeless, and his band has turned into a true family project. His wife, Cindy Blackman Santana, has been the band's drummer since 2015. At 64, she is an outstanding musician known for her powerful performances and skillful drumming. During the Kia Forum concert, Cindy delivered a breathtaking drum solo during the encore after the song Are You Ready? The audience erupted with excitement and admiration for her. Carlos's son, Salvador Santana, from his first marriage, is also part of the band. Now 41 years old, Salvador plays the keyboards, percussion, and even adds vocals and rap to songs like Maria Maria. Together, they bring a mix of old classics and new energy to their shows. Their tour, called the Oneness Tour, featured 18 songs that combined some of Santana's greatest hits with newer material, showing how his music continues to evolve while staying true to its soul. Looking ahead, Carlos and his family are preparing for an extended residency at the House of Blues in Las Vegas in 2025. The show, titled An Intimate Evening with Santana, Greatest Hits Live, is scheduled to run from January to May. The residency promises to highlight the family's deep musical connection and showcase the incredible bond they share on stage. Fans are already excited to see them bring their passion and unity to life through music. At 77, Carlos Santana's outlook on life and mortality is deeply spiritual and philosophical. His beliefs come from years of personal growth and reflection. Over the decades, he has followed different spiritual paths. He once practiced the teachings of Sri Chinmoy and later became a born-again Christian in 1992. His faith and search for truth have shaped his music and his message to the world. Santana often credits his wife Cindy for helping him stay grounded and healthy. Together, they live by 4 core principles: diet, devotion, dedication, and discipline. He believes these values are key to living a strong and balanced life. For Santana, health is not just about eating the right foods but also about nourishing the mind and soul. As he once said, "You can eat the best food and still be weak if you don't think correctly." One of the most powerful moments in Santana's life was a mystical experience he had with the Virgin of Guadalupe. He said that this encounter transformed him deeply and made him feel closer to the divine. Since then, he often asks people to look within and ask themselves, "What is God saying to you right now?" This question reflects his belief that everyone has a spiritual connection that can guide them through life. Santana's message to his fans goes far beyond music. He wants people to wake up spiritually and realize their own strength and light. During his concerts, he often encourages the audience to celebrate your own light and your divinity. For him, music is not just entertainment, it's a way to spread hope, courage, and love. He believes that every person has the power to bring positive energy into the world, especially in times of struggle or uncertainty. Throughout his life, Santana has always looked at the bigger picture. He believes that peace, comfort, and unity are things everyone deserves. In 1998, he created the Milagro Foundation, often shortened to the MRO Foundation, to support children around the world by providing access to education, healthcare, and opportunities for a better life. Through this foundation, he has helped countless young people and families, continuing his mission to spread love and compassion through action. Santana also uses his platform to stand up for social justice. He has always believed in speaking for those who cannot speak for themselves. At a civil rights game for the Atlanta Braves, he said, "I am here to give a voice to the invisible." His words and actions show that he sees himself not just as a musician but as a messenger for kindness, equality, and unity. Even after facing health challenges, public criticism, and the struggles of aging, Santana's passion for music and spirituality remains as strong as ever. His guitar playing still has the same magic, the soulful notes, the emotional melodies, and the rhythm that connects people across generations. Every performance feels like a journey, blending his Latin roots with rock, blues, and jazz influences that have defined his legendary career. Fans around the world admire him not just for his musical talent but also for his resilience. He has faced pain, loss, and controversy but continues to rise above it all, guided by faith and love. His message is clear: no matter how dark life gets, light always returns. Santana believes that when people focus on love, they can heal both themselves and the world around them. In recent years, Santana has become more open about his thoughts on aging and mortality. He says he doesn't fear death because he sees it as part of life's spiritual cycle. To him, death is not an ending but a transformation, a return to the source of love and energy that created all things. His calm and hopeful approach to life inspires many of his fans, especially those who have grown up with his music. Carlos Santana's journey is a powerful example of resilience, growth, and faith. From humble beginnings in Mexico to worldwide fame after Woodstock, he has lived through incredible highs and painful lows. Yet, through it all, he has stayed true to his heart and his mission to spread love through music. As he prepares for his 2025 residency in Las Vegas, Santana shows no signs of slowing down. Surrounded by his family and devoted fans, he continues to share the message that has guided him for decades, one of peace, love, and unity. Whether he's on stage playing smooth or speaking to the crowd about hope and healing, he reminds everyone that music can change lives and that love is the most powerful force in the universe. Carlos Santana's story is not just about fame or success. It's about finding purpose, healing from pain, and using art to lift others. Even at 77, he continues to inspire people around the world to live with passion, follow their faith, and believe in their own inner light. His life and music remind us that no matter what challenges we face, there is always a way to rise above, through love, faith, and the power of the human spirit.